Hello everyone, Adam here, and today we are going to watch The Last of Us Part 2, the gameplay trailer 2 that was released during State of Play. Now, just a little update, the reason I haven't been live streaming as much lately or uploading content, the last update I had was for the defense of The Last of Us, which please watch. I worked really hard on that argument. But yeah, I've been actually trying to repair my PSP to try and stream games using the USB cable, but unfortunately I bought a new battery, didn't work, bought a new charger, didn't work, so I'm afraid the console might be completely broken, even though I've taken really good care of this thing. Like, I've always dusted it and cleaned it, but for some reason it just decided to stop working, and I may have to replace it entirely because I really wanted to do that, play some Crisis Core Final Fantasy or Resistance Retribution. But unfortunately, I may have to buy a brand new PSP because I don't want all those games to go to waste, and Sony doesn't release their PSP games on the PlayStation Store for some stupid reason. I mean, I don't know why, but they don't have them on the store, and my PlayStation Portable actually has a lot of sentimental value. I got it from my mother for a close present, and I want to keep it, but if it's broken, I can't find anyone to repair it, and it's heartbreaking. Anyway, the latest gameplay video is up for The Last of Us Part 2, and we're going to watch it together and see if they offer anything new that we don't know about, which I really hope. As of now, The Last of Us Part 2, I did do a video in defense of the game, which I highly recommend that you watch because I really worked hard in that video. And despite the game gaining a lot of negative reception because the copyright claims and Sony and Naughty Dog's aggressive take on the leaks, which, I mean, they're kind of free to take that stance considering how long this game has been in development and how hard people have worked on this game. So I would be frustrated too if all that hard work was just leaked to the public and without context, because one of my primary arguments for my video was that we have to play the game and see the events leading up to those critical situations in order to get the full idea of how they're executed, because games are meant to be played and they offer that unique experience that drives home, whether it's story or particular fights, like in Super Mario Odyssey, where the entire purpose is to get to Bowser, but the story is really a backseat. But in The Last of Us, story takes the center fold. Anyway, review copies are out. I didn't get one. Sucks. I did apply, but Sony never got back to me. And reviews are coming out, I believe, June 12th. So we'll see if the game is good or not. I'm going to have to reserve my opinion until the game goes public. But, you know, that's enough talking. Let's get to the video. Let's fast forward a little. There we go.
I wish things were different. Ellie! But they ain't.
I've already seen this trailer, but I don't want to fast forward just in case they show something that we haven't seen yet. Or say something.
I'm leaving tomorrow.
To do this smart, we'd be leaving Jackson vulnerable.
So they just get to get away with this?
How'd you find us?
You can't stop this.
I want what you want. But not at any cost. I really hope you make it.
I have to finish it.
There's a cost.
We could have killed you.
Maybe you should have.
It's just the same trailer, but again, I don't want to skip past anything just in case they show some sort of critical piece of information or
I'm Neil
some commentary
Druckmann,
comes out.
Vice
There it
President
is.
of Naughty Dog and the Director of The Last of Us Part 2. We're just a few weeks away from launch on June 19th, when the game will finally be in your hands. The wait has been long, and we're extremely grateful for your patience, especially now in the midst of these unprecedented and challenging times. We hope you're all taking care of yourselves and that you, your friends, and your loved ones are doing well. Because of these extraordinary circumstances, we can't be together in this final stretch and share the experience like we usually would. So today we're trying something different. Something we've never done before. Over the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to give you an in-depth look into what awaits you in The Last of Us Part 2, including new details about the gameplay experience and story. And to cap it all off, we'll be showing a never-before-seen, lengthy gameplay sequence. You'll definitely want to stick around for that.
I mean, that's the whole reason we're here, to see all that. But he said this is something they've never done.
I don't know what happened. I was supposed to take her to the Fireflies and walk away.
St. Mary's Hospital, that's the end of...
They were actually going to make a cure. The only catch, it would kill her.
The Last of Us Part 2 picks up Ellie and Joel's story several years after the events of the first game. Ellie and Joel have settled in Jackson, Wyoming, amongst a thriving community of survivors. With the threats of the world kept outside the town's walls, Jackson has been able to find relative peace and even stability. Ellie is now 19, lives on her own, and has been able to forge lasting relationships within the community.
Scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate our kiss from last night?
However, this peace is short-lived. Jackson and Ellie suffer a violent and traumatizing event. Ellie sets off back into the treacherous outside world in search of retribution and justice.
You just confirmed the leak again.
Her journey will take her to new parts of the country previously unexplored in The Last of Us. The story spans multiple seasons and climates, from the snow-capped mountains of Jackson to the lush Pacific Northwest. Each introduces a wide range of exterior and interior environments for you to navigate and explore, rendered in meticulous detail and unprecedented scale with the latest iteration of the Naughty Dog engine. Our goal was to make these environments not only beautiful, but feel as grounded and authentic to the cities they're based on as possible.
It looks fantastic.
Much of the story unfolds in what remains of Seattle, a massive former quarantine zone. Its locales are incredibly diverse, spanning a dense city center with a skyline of towering high-rises to the beautiful suburbs and stormy waterfronts that surround it. The city exhibits drastic shifts in architecture, elevation, and weather. And with Part 2, we've introduced new traversal mechanics that afford greater exploration and ways to navigate threats.
Yeah, jump in!
Ellie is not only able to climb and jump over gaps, but she can use ropes to scale vertical terrain or swing over obstacles, allowing you to discover new areas, resources, and side narratives.
Okay, so like Uncharted 4, you had a grappling hook
These
in
more
that
open
game.
environments also create new strategic considerations in combat, whether it's to get the jump on enemies or bypass them entirely. The Last of Us Part 2 features some of the largest environments we've ever created. Horseback riding will allow Ellie to quickly cover some of these expansive terrains.
So
Some streets are so flooded that a boat is required to navigate them.
Oh, you can use a boat.
However, the world of The Last of Us is as lush and inviting as it is deadly.
So it's like a semi-open world. So it's not
As
like
Ellie
Last of
uncovers
Us
the
1
path
with
to finding
linear
those
paths.
who have wronged her, she must face...
So it's not like linear paths. You actually have a semi-open world that you can explore with resources littered about. In reference, the first Last of Us was entirely linear. You would have these somewhat open areas where you can go into optional rooms to get items, but they were very limited and few. But in here, it seems like they're going for more of a semi-open world where you would be able to go through various rooms and optional areas to get actual supplies and items, and that means they open up to... I'm going to assume collectibles and optional upgrades, because we learned from the last video that you can find magazines and, you know, of course, pill bottles, which allow you to upgrade Ellie, which was also in the first game. But the horse thing I am a little skeptical about, because in games like that use horseback as a primary form of travel, you can call your horse at any time, but how is that going to work? Are you going to have to babysit your horse like the Batmobile from Batman Arkham Knight, where you have to constantly basically create a path so the Batmobile can come to you so you can access it? But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they'll touch on that in this video. And of course, they low-key confirmed the rumors and leaks. I should have stated this, but I'll put like a text in the beginning of the video warning about spoilers, because at this point it's hard not to talk about it. So I'll put it in the text and also the title.
The many threats of this unknown city. In the wake of the pandemic and the fall of the...
Dogs are a thing. I mean, dogs were a thing in the gameplay trailer, but the way they showed it, like, it just came right in Ellie's face. That was pretty cool. Let me check if I can get... Yeah, right there. That's a new animation. That's really cool. I really like that. So, more quick-time gameplay elements like that.
In the wake of the pandemic and the fall of the quarantine zone, Seattle has become a war zone, where two warring factions find themselves in an ongoing conflict for territory and resources. One of these groups is the Washington Liberation Front, otherwise known as the WLF. The WLF are a militia group that began as resistance to the military occupation of Seattle, and eventually wrestled control of the city from them. They are highly trained, organized, and well-equipped with weapons they stole from the army. They occupy much of the city, imprisoning or killing trespassers on sight.
Hey, we got another trespasser, a girl. Did you see her?
On the other side of this bloody conflict is a group of religious zealots called the Seraphites, or Scars, defined by the self-inflicted deep cuts that they bear across their faces. Like the WLF, they're deeply tribalistic and territorial. They're known for being stealthy, using overgrowth as cover, and they use more silent weapons like bows and arrows.
So, just pausing it to show this. So that's obviously their leader, and it seems like there's some sort of... Well, Neil Druckmann just confirmed they are a cult. It kind of reminds me of Bioshock 2, Sophia Lamb, with this image. With them, like, they kind of... And I know this is a taboo word, but they do look like Nazis. Like, seriously. Like, that image is like what they're... I don't know. I mean, he's kind of painting two extremes here, but yeah, I mean, one side is a highly trained military group who is looking to usurp military control. As we saw in the first Last of Us, the military were extremely aggressive when it came to the infection. The second you even showed the slightest bit of infection, you were euthanized. Like, they weren't even kidding about it. In the first scene, they literally dragged someone out when they tested them to be infected. They put a syringe into her neck, or his neck, I can't remember who it was, and immediately killed the person. The other one tried to run, and they were shot in the back. So they were very aggressive when it came to quarantine procedures, which, you know, with an infection like this that literally destroyed the world, you kind of have to be. But I don't know, it's just interesting to see these two sides. I would love to see that if you could pit them to get against one another and just watch the carnage.
They're known for being stealthy, using overgrowth as cover, and they use more silent weapons like bows and arrows.
Clip her wings.
But beyond this conflict among survivors, the threat that originally brought the world to its knees is very much present. Every human is in danger of falling victim to the infected.
Okay, that is new. I did not know the infected ate humans. I thought they literally survived on like photosynthesis or something. Like, they eat each other? Maybe I'm just unaware of that, but I was not. Wow, they eat each other. Okay.
They are the recently infected runners, who are more numerous and aggressive in this game. The blind but extremely deadly clickers, and the stalkers, who sneak and hide until they're ready to attack, surprising their victims with extreme agility and brutal violence. The Last of Us Part 2 introduces new stages of infected, such as the Shamblers. Large, heavily armored enemies that are covered in pustules. Upon getting close to you, they expel a corrosive spore cloud that burns its victims. But our most terrifying and lethal new forms of infected will have to wait until you play the game for yourselves.
I'm gonna guess that some of these infected are gonna be like the tank from Left 4 Dead, like a variation of that. Because remember, in the first Last of Us, the most highly dangerous infected was the bloater, which was basically someone who's been infected for years and hasn't succumbed to their wounds and become those like spore carrier. I can't remember what they're called, but basically their body would collapse and then they would just emit cordyceps spores everywhere. But I'm pretty sure it's like an evolution of the bloater. Like it just gets even more powerful, or maybe it combines with other infected. That would be awesome. Like several bodies like combine into one to become this super infected. I mean, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like multiple voices.
Overcoming these threats will require careful consideration of how you approach every combat encounter and how you leverage Ellie's unique skills, equipment, and the environment to your advantage.
Let's get in there.
The WLF patrol the streets of Seattle with guard dogs, which are capable of detecting and following you, even while in cover.
You think this guy's connected to the
They can pick up your scent and alert their handlers to your presence. Listen mode will reveal your scent trail, so keep moving and cause distractions to avoid detection.
They could be hiding anywhere.
25 years after the pandemic began, the world is completely overgrown. Use tall grass to hide from enemies and go prone to stay out of sight. However, this form of analog stealth means you're never fully hidden. If enemies get close enough, they can discover you, even in grass. When Ellie is overwhelmed, running away is a viable option. You can also break class or crawl through tight spaces to find new paths or areas to evade or take on your enemies.
I like that.
In any given combat situation, you can flee an encounter and re-establish stealth to regain the advantage. If you
Increased mobility options is always welcome. I wonder if only Ellie can sneak past those spiffy cracks, because she's very small and slender, and that gives you an advantage to slip past certain areas like that. So does that mean the adults can't slip past it, but the dogs can? That would be very cool. Like different character, like you can evade a human by going through a small crack, but the dog will still chase you.
absolutely have to fight your way out, there are a variety of tools at your disposal. Ellie's more agile than most of her enemies. She could sprint and quickly dodge incoming attacks. Learning how opponents attack with different weapons and mastering the timing of your dodges will prevent you from taking damage and create opportunities to counterattack.
Nice.
You can use throwable items or well-placed shots to stun enemies before dealing a killing blow. Or using them as a shield to protect yourself or buy some time to figure out your next move.
I like how they beg for mercy. That's really human of them. Awesome. That's a great touch.
Ellie isn't always alone on her journey. Allies will take part in helping you navigate the environments, spot enemies, and meaningfully help you in combat encounters.
Nice shot.
Back off!
The allies are actually effective. Nice. I usually use them as just human shields, but they actually look like they know what they're doing.
Between the human survivors and the roaming infected, there will be times where multiple threats are present, creating new strategic considerations and opportunities. You can choose whether to attack these opponents separately and directly, or find ways to pit them against each other.
Nice. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm gonna do. Oh,
Flee
you
as they
kill each
fight,
other.
or wait until their numbers have thinned out and engage with whomever's left.
Why are they running so slow?
Our goal is to
I really hope they didn't nerf that, because in most games where you're allowed to pit enemies against one another, they reduce the amount of damage, speed, and other options they can execute as opposed to when they're attacking the player, which is something I really hate. To me, it just takes you out of the experience. It's like something out of, I always use this as an example, Halo Combat Evolved. In Halo Combat Evolved, you can have the Covenant and Flood fight each other, but the second they see you, they all forget that either one of them are fighting one another and automatically target Master Chief, which I found to be infuriating and just nonsensical, because they just decide, you know, troops, everyone attack Master Chief. They also don't hit each other with as much force, which I found a little bizarre, but you know, maybe that was the limitations of the original Xbox. But here, I really hope they don't do that, because they really don't have an excuse with the PlayStation 4. Allow enemies to attack with the same ferocity as they do with the regular player.
Create unparalleled tension, coupled with deep systems that give you greater control and influence over your journey. As you play, you'll be able to invest in a broad collection of crafting items, weapon, and player upgrades through training manuals scattered throughout the environment and scavenging for ingredients. These skills and upgrade manuals cater to a variety of playstyles, and the choices you make will create your own distinct experience. We also wanted to extend that agency and personalization to your weapons through our new workbench system. Scavenge for parts to modify and improve your weapon's performance and attributes, all of which are visualized and become part of your character.
That is awesome. You get to see her actually put the weapon together. That is great detail. Joel taught her
Survival will also require using the parts and ingredients that you'll find in the environment, which can be crafted into a wide range of defensive and offensive items,
Man, look at that,
like proximity mines,
visuals on the
explosive
corpse.
arrows,
That is awesome.
pistol suppressors, and more.
Man, Naughty Dog does do good work when it comes to details. They're up there with CD Projekt Red when it comes to these type of intricate details right into everything. So it is a very profound cult. I mean, look at this. Someone had to draw that, and the amount of detail that went into this, not to mention it's very clean, and wow, someone had to maintain this wall. I mean, it had to be intentional. That is a very devoted cult. Nice.
All of these gameplay systems are meant to immerse you in the world and make you feel in lockstep with Ellie's emotional journey.
That was one of the first images they teased for The Last of Us. These images right here.
As we've said before, this is Naughty Dog's largest, most ambitious game. It may seem like we covered a lot, but we've only scratched the surface of what it's like to play The Last of Us Part 2. We can't wait for you to experience it all for yourself on June 19th.
It looks fantastic.
Until then, here's an extended sequence of never-before-seen gameplay.
Awesome.
Enjoy.
I will enjoy. So this is Seattle's suburbs, I assume, because it's a lot of grassy area. Or it could be a swamp. No, it's definitely Seattle. Neil Druckmann did state that the suburbs were more covered in flora. Oh no, this is when you're entering Seattle. Okay. Trying to sneak past a gate.
Escape while no one was looking. We're searching the area, just in case she's still around.
Isaac's not happy about it.
No shit.
Isaac. He must be the leader of the Washington Liberation Front.
What the fuck are they talking about?
Oh, you can dive underwater. I wonder if you hold one button to dive a specific amount of depth, or you can have a 360 control. Victim. I like how he doesn't hear the swooshing of the water. For me, just as a side note, the best underwater sections are from Tomb Raider to me, the recent installments.
Don't make a fucking sound. Hands up.
She's got a PSP!
You know a girl named Nora?
Sure,
Yeah. Where is she?
in the hospital.
Where in the hospital?
Yeah, they're clearing out the upper floors. She's somewhere in there.
Oh wait, that's a PS Vita, never mind.
That was dumb.
The irony of that is that my PSP broke down, but my 3DS, my Nintendo SP, my Game Boy Advance SP, all of it still works. I started charging them just recently, but my freaking PSP doesn't work. Like, say what you say about Nintendo, but at least their products are built to last.
Boat's away. Word is we're almost wrapped up.
Good. I got my girl waiting for him for Fob.
You shit me? They put you with Joe again?
Hey, we get the job done.
I bet you do. Oh, this is not fair.
I'm telling you, man. Data soldier. It makes these shifts so much easier.
Sure. I'll keep that in mind.
The conversations are really organic. I like
Sounds
that.
like
You know,
scars are getting closer.
this is what people would say if they were in this situation to try and break up the monotony. Dating, food, all that. Oh, nice shot.
I heard that Isaac wants us to retake all of downtown.
I heard we might take the fight to them.
Critical story
No way.
details also.
Not after what went down last time. Even Isaac isn't that crazy.
It's what I heard.
The bottle suppressor brought to you by Coca-Cola.
Shut up. All right. Calm down.
Please don't kill me, calm down! Jams a knife right into his neck.
Darling! We're under attack! Sticky tape from that way!
Ooh, I wonder if it's as overpowered as it was in the first game. In the first game, having the powered up melee weapon was extremely effective. It took almost anyone out very easily, with the exception of the bloater. Oh, this guy's gonna die horribly. Not the dog! Oh, not the dog. I don't care about the people. Kill the people. The dog, on the other hand, no. Ah. The dog whines and cries as it dies. No. I'm just really sad about the dog.
Just like that.
Man, that was graphic, the way that sound. Like, it just... Wow. Ugh. And I thought the Last of Us 1 had really good sound design. That was just brutal of how... Wow. I wonder how they made that sound.
Saw movement.
Like, did they
I'll
take
go
a
check it
watermelon, freeze it, and just hit it with a sledgehammer?
Holy
That's
shit!
what it sounds like, but still, ugh.
Shit! Look out! Move! Over here! Drop her now, crook! Asshole!
The AI... I'm gonna pause it right there. The way the AI just, like, was hiding behind cover while the other one was, like, dazed by smoke, that's really... That's smart. They're just trying to ambush her.
I found her!
Okay, it is overpowered. One shot and it just killed her. Wow. That is effective. But it only has 3 swings, which means you probably can upgrade it for more power. For increased duration. Alright, just like the original Last of Us, you can close off sections. Once you go past a certain section, you can close off the other section. Unless they can break through that somehow and find another way into your area. So if you don't take care of the enemies on the other side, they come to this side. That would actually be... Oh, wow, that would be alarming. I learned from the the first gameplay trailer, you can break those windows and dive into there. Does that person also have a PS Vita or PSP? How do these people have their Sony portable consoles still working?
You're gonna tell us where she went.
When Isaac talks to us about this...
I'm getting tired of this.
Nora. Nora! I'm not going down for her, man.
They must be rationing supplies, so they're annoyed by someone taking them. Why didn't you grab the duct tape?
Don't scream. Put that shit down. You remember me? Yeah. You remember me.
So she was there when you know who was killed. That's it. Okay. I mean, a lot of critical information there. Ellie sneaking into Seattle to get revenge for what happened, and I mean, I really like how the sound design is fantastic. That's something I really love. Choreography is fantastic. Visuals amazing. I mean, I'm still really excited about this game. I can't wait for it to come out. And despite me being open about how I feel about the leaked information, that I'm not really excited if it's all true, judging by the execution of the events leading up to those profound situations, they may be done correctly. We have to wait and see. I mean, again, review copies are out and people are playing this game. I know a lot of people don't really trust reviewers. I mean, I'm a reviewer too, and people have said a lot of nasty things to me about games that I played, but what are you gonna do? You provide an opinion, and whether people agree with it or not is up to them. Ultimately, it is up to you to decide whether you want to purchase a game or not, and whether you like it or not. Just going to give you my opinion and see whether you give you my opinion and see if it has any sway on it. Either way, it's a really good trailer. I like how everyone seems to have a functional PSP or PS Vita, and I'm just really annoyed that my PSP is not working anymore, but this girl has a working PSP. But then she immediately gets killed. Why, Sony? Why are your products not built to last? Learn something from Nintendo. Either way, I'll leave a like. I liked it. Comments have been disabled as usual because they don't want people posting spoilers about the game. But overall, I am excited for The Last of Us Part 2. Can't wait to play it, and hopefully it is good. I'm really hoping it's good. I've been waiting a long time for this game. I am going to replay The Last of Us for the PS4 and, you know, get my bearings around the game once again. Anyway, that's the video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Stay awesome, everyone.